Before we start, please watch my previous video. The link will be in the description.
Alright, Jeopardy's first Professors Tournament is taking place, and I thought it'd be a tournament I should keep track of because it is a first. I'm surprised it took this long. I like how there's a Teachers Tournament and a Professors Tournament. I'm also keeping track because Mayim is the hostess again. I missed seeing her. Now, before we get to anything else, I'm going to address two important things. The first is Jeopardy uploaded a video titled Mayim shares her thoughts on academia and the Professors Tournament. This was uploaded after the first night aired. In the interview, she tells us, "I'm the child of two public school teachers. My parents had a combined about 70 years of public school service as English teachers, and they started teaching in the Bronx and in Harlem. My mother taught in the women's prison. I grew up believing that teachers were not just people who taught things, but people who guided you in your journey in education and in life. I definitely felt a bit of an itch to be back in an academic setting, being surrounded by so much knowledge and also such enthusiastic professors. It reminded me of the best academia, and that's really what we have here. So I guess it's serendipity that she hosts the Professors Tournament when her parents were teachers. Maybe she could also host for the Teachers Tournament. It's really funny how that worked. The second address I need to make is, I noticed a lot of criticism of Mayim as the hostess. Fans were saying they miss Ken as the host. One common complaint is Mayim appears to be playing the role as the host instead of actually being the host. My question is, how can you tell the difference? Maybe they're saying this because they're so used to her being an actress. I'll do a different video on that. All that being said, the first Professors Tournament took place Monday, December 6th. The contestants consisted of Gary Hollis, professor at Roanoke College in Virginia, Gautam, professor at Vanderbilt Law School in Tennessee, and Hester Blum, professor at Penn State University. My introduction was, "We interrupt the impressive run of our current champion to bring you a brand new competition, the Jeopardy's Professors Tournament. It is these educators' higher learning that have aided the journey of many of the great contestants on this stage, so it seems only fitting that we feature a tournament highlighting them. For the next 2 weeks, 15 talented professors from across the country will test their knowledge for a chance at $100,000 and a spot in our next Tournament of Champions." Right when Mayim informed us the impressive run of the current champion is interrupted, I realized how much I miss hearing her introductions throughout the season. Ken's great too. I just got so used to both. To remove one's hat as greeting, that has a name I didn't know. I also didn't know the term elbow grease dated all the way back to 1672. Gary got the first daily double, bet $1,500, answered correctly, and went to $6,500. Gary had the first round winning. I just realized they're all professors and they're still being called by their first names. Moreover, I've been calling them by their first names throughout the video. Gary ended the first round winning $7,900. Gautam was in second place at $2,200, and Hester was in third at $1,400. Hester got the first daily double in Double Jeopardy. She risked $2,000, answered correctly, and that took her to $7,000. I love how she claps for herself. Not a lot of contestants do that. Gary found the second daily double exactly 2 minutes after the first. He wagered $1,700, answered correctly, and went to $19,400. Yay, it ended an even number again. Hester ended Double Jeopardy winning $8,600. Gary was in lead at $21,000. The final Jeopardy category was aesthetic movements. The question was, this turn-of-the-century movement was alternately known as the Neue Kunst and Modernista. I can't think of anything. The answer was Art Nouveau. That is phonetically correct, so we'll accept that. Hester was the only one to answer correctly, and her final score was $12,000. Gary answered Art Deco, risked only $1,000, and still won at $20,000, and he advanced to the semifinals. Night 2, the contestants consisted of Katie Reed, professor at Cal State Fullerton, John Harkless, professor at Howard State University in Washington, D.C., Marti, professor at Northern Arizona University.
Katie, you will pick first.
Let's have pop culture for 600.
Katie's voice sounds really sweet. John answers, then Katie dominates, then John answers a few. The first answer to be incorrect was right before the first commercial break, which was odd. The daily double was found right after the mini anecdotal interviews.
Find balance in her life was published in Spanish as Come, Reza, Ama.
By the way, Mayim is pronounced Come, Reza, Ama. She pronounced Vigilante in a different night.
What is Eat, Pray, Love? That's correct.
I love how the numbers are 2,400 and 4,200. One of the categories was I've Got a Theory, and I immediately thought of the Big Bang Theory and was waiting for it. On the other hand, John answered the question correctly, and Mayim told him, "I'm very glad you got that right, John." John got the first daily double in Double Jeopardy, wagered $2,000, which brought him to $7,600. Katie started dominating throughout Double Jeopardy in a streak that led her to a tie in first place at $10,400. It's weird how almost none of the questions were answered incorrectly. These professors really know their information. Katie found the daily double. Mayim points out, this has been a very close game. Katie, you're in the lead. How much will you wager? She bet 1,600.
Unfortunately answered wrong, and went back down to 12,000.
Again, a tie in first place. Katie ended Double Jeopardy winning $14,000. The final Jeopardy category was old geographic names. The question was, this term once used for Western North Africa is still used today in the name of a primate from that region. My guess was Sudan. The answer was Barbary. Marti was the only one to answer correctly. She bet $3,000 and that took her to $13,400, and she's now a semifinalist. Marti Canipe won tonight's game. Katie Reed actually came quite close. I would have loved for her to win. Night 3, the contestants consisted of Ashleigh Lawrence Sanders, professor at University of Colorado, Lisa Dresner, professor at Hofstra University, Sam Buttrey, professor at Naval Postgraduate School. Ashleigh got the daily double at the very last second. She wagered $1,000 and went to $2,400. Ashleigh had the first round at $4,000. Sam was in first place at $8,000, and Lisa was in third place at $1,400. Lisa got the first daily double in Double Jeopardy. She made it a true daily double, and the question was obvious. She answered correctly, and that took her to $2,800. Ashleigh got the second daily double, risked $2,000, and went down to $3,200. This is how Double Jeopardy ended. Sam was in first place at $22,400. Lisa was in second place at $6,400. And Ashleigh was in third at $3,200. The final Jeopardy category was 20th century people. The question was, General MacArthur said this man's death by violence is one of those bitter anachronisms that seems to refute all logic. Since he's a general, my only guess was someone who died in a war. None of the contestants answered correctly. As you can see, Lisa and Ashleigh both risked it all and went down to zero. The answer was Mahatma Gandhi. Sam didn't risk anything, and he's now a semifinalist. Night 4, the contestants consisted of Julia Williams, professor at Hullman Institute of Technology in Terre Haute, Indiana. Ed Hashima, professor at American River College in Sacramento, California. Ramon Guerra, professor at University of Nebraska at Omaha. Ramon Guerra, his last name is War? I love how right after the mini anecdotal interviews, Mayim smiles and tells Julia, I still don't really understand that, but okay. My reaction whenever I see a Final Jeopardy question sometimes. Ed actually got all 3 of the daily doubles. The first daily double, he risked $1,200, answered wrong, and was still in first place at $4,800.
The first daily double in Double Jeopardy, Ed answered correctly, and that took him to $13,000. The second daily double in Double Jeopardy, Ed wagered only $1,200, answered right, and went to $27,400. The last question wasn't answered in Double Jeopardy. Ed was in first place at $27,400, Julia was in second place at $5,800, and Ramon was in third place at $1,400. The final Jeopardy category was 1950s public works. The question was, dubbed the greatest construction show on Earth when completed, it connects Minnesota to Montreal.
I can't guess the Hoover Dam. That's not even historically or geographically correct. The answer was St. Louis Seaway. Ed was the only one to answer correctly. He bet $4,700, and his final score was $32,100. 3-2-1. 3-2-1-0. I think this is the highest any professor won at the Professors Tournament. The contestants consisted of Deborah Steinberger, professor at University of Delaware, Alyssa Hovey, professor at Warren Wilson College, J.P. Allen, professor at University of San Francisco. Deborah's voice is really sweet. Deborah sounds really sweet.
800.
For a true daily double.
Deborah got the first daily double. It was a gimme, and it was technically a true daily double, and it went from $800 to $1,600. She is now tied in second place at $1,600. None of the contestants answered the last question correctly. Deborah was in the lead at $6,200 at the end of the first round. Yes! JP was in second at $4,200, and Alyssa was in third at $3,000. Alyssa got the daily double, risked $3,000, and went to $12,400. I liked her reaction after answering correctly. Kinda reminds me of Anna Raffner's. Deborah got the other daily double. She risked $3,000, and that took her to $13,600. It's a really close game. Alyssa entered Double Jeopardy winning $16,400. JP was barely in the lead at $17,400, and Deborah was in third at $14,800. No. The final Jeopardy category was 19th century British authors. The question was, she called herself the daughter of two persons distinguished literary celebrity in an introduction to one of her novels. I should know this. Come on, I should know this. It's not only the Bronte sisters. I'm running out of ideas. The answer was Mary Shelley in the introduction of Frankenstein novel? How could I have missed that? You know what it is? I was actually planning to do a Halloween series where we took a look at spooky literature. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was going to be one of the novels I analyzed. I canceled it because I simply didn't have enough time because of Matt Amodio and Jonathan Fisher's streaks and my personal life. I should have just started in June. I would have definitely gotten this correct if I had done the series I planned to. Alyssa was the only one to answer correctly. I was hoping Deborah would win. I like JP's facial expressions. You know what? I would have hoped he won too. Well, there's a surprise. And a twist. They all made it to the semifinals. Yes, Katie Reed did too. I love how much support the professors have for each other. Just look at their reactions. This is truly an amazing tournament. Even Mayim is excited. So this concludes week 1 of the professors tournament. Tune in next time and we'll take a look at the semifinals. The first week of Jeopardy's professors tournament was last week. This next week will consist of those who made it to the semifinalists. Those who win will advance to the finalists, which will take place Thursday and Friday. Yes, Katie made it to the semifinals. The contestants consisted of Katie Reed, professor at Cal State Fullerton, J.P. Allen, professor at University of San Francisco, Sam Buttrey, professor at Naval Postgraduate School. That's weird, they're all from California. J.P. is tall. Also, JP is really lucky because the Friday before he competed against Deborah, and this week he's competing against Katie.
British humour for 4.
I love how JP added British humor by pronouncing British humor in a British accent, and is the only one to do so. JP continues to say, alright, before getting the first daily double. He made it a true daily double by insisting, I believe the occasion demands a true daily double. JP got all 3 of the daily doubles. I saw the comments on the video that fans were disappointed JP lost. Now I see why. He answered correctly and went to 3,600. Sam's eyes when JP buzzes in. I love the enthusiasm from all of them. I also love that Katie says please after every selection. Her voice is already so sweet. Katie ended the first round winning $4,600. JP was in second place at $6,000, and Sam was in lead at $6,600. After the first round, Mayim informed them there were no incorrect responses in a single round. I noticed that too, and it's such a close game. It's only night 1 of the semifinals, and this is already a suspenseful and amazing game. After introducing the Double Jeopardy categories, the last one was Say Something Silly, Professor.
And say something silly, Professor. Katie?
This caught Katie's attention because she selected that first. Alright, we're going to start with that. Say Something Silly, Professor for 12, please.
All right, we've got to start with that. Say something silly, Professor, for 12, please.
She was obviously abused because right after she answers, she confirmed it was silly. Okay, it is silly.
Katie?
What is cattywampus?
Correct.
Okay, it is silly. Let's try say something silly for 800.
I was initially disappointed that Katie was in last place. I was so glad she was able to select first. After JP answered malarkey, Mayim told him, yes, and now we've all said something silly. The audience laughed. See, this is why Mayim is a good hostess. JP got the daily double. He wagered 5,400, got it wrong, and went down to 2,800. This was actually the first incorrect answer. JP caught up subsequently following a streak. JP wagered less when he got the third daily double. Let's do the same thing with a different result. Maybe 3,000? He answered correctly and went to 8,200, the same amount he was in when he got the first daily double in Double Jeopardy. He's come full circle. When no one answers this one question correctly, Mayim says, well, now it's time for me to say something silly. Who is Zizzy Baluba? The audience laughs. Katie ended Double Jeopardy winning $9,000. JP was in second place at $13,400, and Sam was in the lead at $19,000. The final Jeopardy category was Kings and Queens. The question was, due to a legislative action in 1707, she was officially the last monarch of independent Scotland. The only Scottish queen I know is Mary, Queen of Scots. It can't be her because she died in the 1500s. Katie risked it all and went down to 0? No, I was rooting for her to win. Katie and JP both guessed Mary, Queen of Scots. They have both risked it all, and they both went back down to 0. A double 0 on Jeopardy? I've never seen that before. The closest time I have is when 2 contestants went to the negative before Final Jeopardy. A night I've been meaning to talk about, by the way. JP used both hands to point down because he got it wrong. Now I see why fans are hoping JP would win. Personally, I couldn't decide between him and Katie. Yeah, I was hoping for Katie to win at first. Now that I've seen JP, I couldn't decide. The students are really lucky to see and hear Katie and JP every week. I'd love for them to be my professors. Katie because of how sweet she sounds, and JP because of his enthusiasm. He actually reminds me of Kate Kahn. He acts so much like her, or possibly Anna Raffner. Can you imagine all of them in a class together? That would be a fun environment. The answer was Queen Anne, which Sam answered correctly. On the throne of 1702 to 1714, she was also the last Stuart monarch as she had no surviving children. Sam risked 7,401 and went to 26,401 and is now a finalist. Night 2 of the semifinals, the contestants consisted of Hester Blum, professor at Penn State University, Marti Canipe, professor at Northern Arizona University, Alyssa Hovey, professor at Warren Wilson College. Oh, it's a ladies' night. 3 female contestants and Mayim is the hostess. The questions seemed harder tonight as opposed to yesterday when there were hardly any incorrect responses. Hester got the first daily double. She wagered $800, answered wrong, and went down to $400. Hester went back to $1,200, so, like JP, she went full circle too. A photo of ice plants was shown. Alyssa answers ice plants, and Mayim tells her, "I'm so glad you got that right." Alyssa's reaction is "me too," as the audience laughs.
Alisa,
What are ice plants?
I'm so glad you got that right. Yes.
Me too.
In 1984, there was a new Barbie doll, instructor of this type of heart-healthy exercises. After Hester answers aerobics, Mayim told us, "Yes, I wanted that so badly," as the audience laughs.
Hester.
What is aerobics?
Yes, I wanted that so badly.
Hester entered the first round winning $1,000. Marti was in second place at $1,800, and Alyssa was in the lead at $3,800. Alyssa got the first daily double in Double Jeopardy. She risked $3,000, and it took her to $12,400. Hester got the second daily double. She wagered $2,600, unfortunately ran out of time and got it wrong anyway, and went down to $4,800. I always feel bad when they run out of time. Marti entered Double Jeopardy winning $2,200. Hester was in second place at $4,800, and Alyssa was in the lead at $13,200. The final Jeopardy category was 20th century physics. The question was, puzzlingly heavy and long-lived particles discovered in the 1940s were dubbed this adjective, later applied to even smaller particles. None of the contestants answered correctly. The answer was strange. These strange particles are made up of what are still called strange quarks. Marti answered quarks, so that was not quite correct. Alyssa bet $3,000, went down to $10,200, and is now a finalist. Night 3. The contestants consisted of Deborah Steinberger, professor at University of Delaware, Gary Hollis, professor at Roanoke College in Virginia, Ed Hashima, professor at American River College in Sacramento, California. Yay, Deborah! This is the last of the semifinals. All of the contestants got a daily double. Gary got the first daily double. He made it a true daily double, which is odd because he was able to risk $1,000. In the many anecdotal interviews, Gary Hollis revealed he was able to prepare for Jeopardy because he hosted trivia nights at Roanoke. Deborah entered the first round winning $1,000. Gary was in second place at $1,400, and Ed was in the lead at $6,000. Right before she got the daily double, Deborah answered correctly and said, "Great."
Yes.
Great. World City 1600.
Deborah got the first daily double in Double Jeopardy. She wagered $2,000, unfortunately answered wrong, and went back down to $1,400. I know she still has that lovely smile even after she answered wrong. I love how positive she is. Ed got the daily double. He bet $1,200, got it right, and went to $13,600. Deborah had a Double Jeopardy winning $4,200. Gary was in second place at $10,200, and Ed was in the lead at $15,600. The final Jeopardy category was awards. The question was, the Theodore Roosevelt Rough Rider Award honors influential people from this state, including Western author Louis L'Amour. What I also find really interesting is his last name is L'Amour, which means love. A previous contestant who didn't make to the semifinals was Ramon Guerra, which means war. So if he got the question that night, it would have been love and war, at least in Spanish and French. Guerra being Spanish for war, and L'Amour being French for love. None of the contestants answered correctly. Deborah answered Texas. Unfortunately, that was wrong, and she didn't risk anything. The answer was North Dakota. Ed risked $5,000 and still won at $10,600. He's now a finalist, and this concludes the semifinalists of the Professors Tournaments.
Before the Professors Tournament concluded, each finalist was interviewed in the winner's circle. Alyssa Hovey's in third place at $6,400, Ed Hashima's in second place at $9,800, and Sam Buttrey's in the lead at $23,200. The final Jeopardy category of the first round of the finalists was World War II geography. The question was, body of water battles included the Coral Sea, Philippine Sea, and this one that allowed Japan to seize Jakarta. I couldn't think of anything. None of the contestants answered correctly. The answer was the Java Sea. Alyssa Hovey answered the South China Sea, wagered $2,600, and went down to $3,800. Ed Hashima also answered South China Sea, wagered $5,200, and went down to $4,600. Sam Buttrey answered Indonesian Sea, wagered $3,200, and went down to $20,000. Here are the scores. Alyssa Hovey, $3,800. Ed Hashima, $4,600. Sam Buttrey, $20,000. You'll notice it's coincidentally in order from lowest to highest. And now the final night of the Professors Tournaments. Ed got 2 of the daily doubles. The first was rather early, risked $600, and went down to $1,200. There was a point when Ed and Sam were tied because Sam answered incorrectly. Then Ed got the right answer. They were both tied at $2,800. In the mini anecdotal interviews, Mayim asked all 3 contestants if there's anything they'd like us to know about them. They all thanked their mentors and their family. Sam even thanks and congratulates the other professors in the tournaments.
Ed.
What is Mitt Romney?
No.
I feel bad for Ed for not catching on to the Jeopardy category. Before and after is a common theme in Jeopardy, combining a phrase of 2. It's essentially a phrase portmanteau. Ed only answered the after correctly, while Sam answered the before and after.
Sam.
What is Oven Mitt Romney?
That's right.
Before and after 600.
After no one answers Iron Man of War, Mayim comments, "These are awesome." These are, and Mayim is an awesome hostess. It's a perfect match.
That's Iron Man of War. These are awesome. Sam.
Sam entered the first round winning $6,800. Ed was in second place at $5,200, and Elisa was in third place at $3,000. Usually when the host has to address something before the second round or before Final Jeopardy, they correct the scores. This time, Mayim thanked all the professors. I don't know if Elisa laughs that she got it wrong, or if it was just the right answer coming to her after she got it wrong.
Descartes wrote, "Je pense donc je suis."
It's pronounced, "Je pense donc je suis." Sam got the first daily double in Double Jeopardy. He wagered $2,000, got it right, and went to $10,800. Ed got the second daily double in Double Jeopardy. He and Sam are so close, and they've been in the lead. Ed wagered $2,200, unfortunately answered wrong, and went down to $10,600. All 3 contestants answered the wrong type of spoon. Ed answered, "What are teaspoons?" No. Elisa buzzed in and answered,
Elisa.
"What are tablespoons?" No. Then Sam buzzed in and answered,
Sam?
"What are spoons?" He gets it wrong and everyone laughs, I guess, because it was so difficult. The answer was, "What are coffee spoons?" Sam sighs. Ed buzzed it in, and Sam sighs, I guess, because he didn't buzz in fast enough. Ed ended Double Jeopardy winning $15,400. It was basically a competition between Ed and Sam. Sam was in second place at $13,600, and Elisa was unfortunately still in the red at negative $1,600. She finished in third place at $25,000. The Final Jeopardy category was French artists. The question was, the catalog of the Museum of Modern Art's first exhibition called this artist who died in 1891, a man of science and inventor of a method. When did Degas die? Degas lived through the 1800s, right? I'm not guessing him. I don't know who else it could be, though. The answer was Seurat. Sam was the only one to answer correctly. He bet $2,000, which took his score to $15,600. He won $20,000 the previous game, which took his final score to $35,600. I had to guess Claude Monet. He risked $13,700 and went down to $1,700. He won $4,600 the previous game, which took his final score to $6,300. Sam Buttrey won the Professors Tournament, and he won $100,000. We'll see him in the Tournament of Champions, and we'll see Amy on Monday. The Jeopardy YouTube channel posted "Overheard on Set" as usual. However, the video is titled, and the winner is Professors Tournament. Even the thumbnail was the spoiler alert thumbnail. Mayim points out Sam didn't seem too confident when he answered Seurat. Well, you know, my mom always said, "Que sera, sera." They laughed before Sam adds he thought Seurat was later and questioned the scientific part of the clue. Sam is asked how it feels to win the Professors Tournament. Ed and Lisa are asked how it feels to have been finalists. Sam answers spectacular. He didn't think about the money, just the opportunity to play. Ed feels relaxed and elated to have made it this far and to spend time with everyone on the sets. Alyssa described it as a dream come true as she watched Jeopardy since she was 10. They're asked about their winnings. Sam plans to adopt cats, Ed plans to buy a new BMW, and Lisa and her children will travel to Vietnam. Mayim jokes about putting the cats in the BMW and taking them to Vietnam. Taking all of them to Vietnam, I guess. This concludes Jeopardy's first Professors Tournament. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see Amy Schneider play and Ken Jennings host again on Monday. And as always, thank you for watching.